Wackmatters is brought to you by Audible.com. If you go to audibletrial.com/wackmatters, you can sign up for a free 30-day trial where you can test out Audible's awesome audiobook monthly subscription service. Make sure to go to audibletrial.com/wackmatters. Hey, thank you for joining us for episode 5 of WackTracks, talking about Channel Zero Season 2, episode 5, called The Damage. My name is Michael, and I'm here with my normal co-hosts, starting with you.
Mac.
Mark.
Matt.
And we're going to do the thing we normally do, where we read through and talk about the synopsis of this episode called The Damage. Real quick, I want to get a room feel before I start this. How you feeling right now about this show?
So I think I ended it last week on a light 3. This is now a 2. And I would like to give it a 1, but I want to have room to go down.
just in case. Okay.
Yeah.
Similar feelings across the room.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about it.
All right, let's just get into the summary then, and then we'll jog your memory.
I'm down to 1.
You're already there. You've already hit rock bottom. I like when we started the show, you said you didn't think you could give anything below a 5, and we proved that wrong.
Well, no, I meant in the sense that like the first episode felt like bad, but not noticeably bad, like the kind of thing that I would just ignore. That's where I'm going to hand out a 5.
That's a good 5, yeah.
This is actively painful to watch.
Right, because we've gotten to. Well, I'm sorry, I got things to say.
Okay,
we can read.
Let's get here. First paragraph. So we read through the summaries. So in case you weren't able to watch the show, listen to the previous episodes to get caught up. And here we go. It's hard to imagine how life is going to go on for Jules and Margot now that they've made it out of the NoEnd House. Jules decides to stay with Margot because, after all, she has no memory of what her family looks like. That's a reason to stay at a friend's house.
Forever? We live together now because I don't know what Mom looks like anymore.
You know, I used to know some people that did drugs. They never had that exact problem.
Yeah, but does she remember that she even had a mom?
Yes.
Well, she remembers the outline of her.
Yeah.
She remembers the the ink blot.
Yeah.
Maybe she should have just had her friend come over with her and be like, "Oh, hey, Jules's mom." And that way, then boom, I know that's mom. Boom, I know that's sister. Or maybe you just assume that the older woman in the house is your mom.
You know, the older one smoking pot? That's your mom.
Well, she forgot she smoked pot, probably.
No, because he ate the memory of Mom, not the memory of weed.
Oh, sorry. This actually.
So she should still see the joint not blotted out in the ink splotches.
This explains it. In her memories, her family is all just blue blobs. Same goes for Margot, actually. When her dad took and ate her memory of her mother, Margot lost the ability to see her in her head. The house took it all. When they got home, Margot gets a call from her mother and learns the truth about her dad's death.
She already knew the truth about her dad's death.
No, she knew the death was a suicide, but what she didn't know was that he did it for the insurance money.
Right.
Yep, the mayonnaise factory pays off big time.
Margot is torn. Her father is a ghoul, but he died trying to save the family, and it turns out Margot's dad has followed them out of the NoEnd House and is now creeping through the neighborhood.
Hey, I want to do a correction of this. It's not her dad. Not her father. It's not her father following them out of the house. No, that's not what that is.
You don't know that.
I do know that. That's not what it is.
I can tell you something. Margot thinks she hears her dad, but he's pretty good at hiding.
He was an expert hider.
That's what it says. He's pretty good at hiding, because remember he was hiding behind the shed that one time?
Right around the corner of the shed is about the perfect hiding.
He also was hiding in the weeping willow, watching those children.
For virtually
slightly
no reason?
less effective.
And if he had he just needed a raincoat.
I'm a fairly fat dude. I could hide in a weeping willow probably, right?
You're going to have to explain the raincoat reference.
What do peeping toms usually have? Perverts.
Honestly, I don't know.
They wear raincoats.
Do peeping toms flash people? Is that a thing? I don't want to know. Exhausted, Margot and Jules have a heart-to-heart where Jules confesses to see what she's... Hold on. Jules confesses to what she's been afraid of saying. That... What? Exhausted, Margot and Jules have a heart-to-heart where Jules confesses to what she's been afraid of saying, that Margot's dad dying overwhelmed her. Margot's sadness was too much for Jules at the time, but now they've been through this together. Jules promises she'll always be on Margot's side. After they take a quick nap...
Literally a quick nap. It lasted maybe 6 seconds. You watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
Jules hears a noise and is suddenly accosted by...
Seth!
He came out of the house too. Jules tries to fight him off, but then he tells her that it turns out Margot's dad is inside the house.
So I talked about this a little bit earlier. He knows the dad's inside the house, and Seth clearly has a thing for Margot by them hooking up. Why he wasted his time attacking and then silencing Jules while the dad starts to eat the dog memory makes zero sense. Why didn't he just go find a candlestick and just attack the dad right away before he started eating the memory at all?
See, that sentence makes me wonder why I wasted time watching the show.
So this episode has one of my major pet peeves when I watch any show.
Is it
And-
Is it bad TV?
Well, no, is one of my almost unforgivables, and that is when a character
eats a dog?
no
No, I
When a
usually
character acts-
like that, which is
when
weird.
a character acts in a way that is solely and utterly plot driven.
Oh,
In other words,
I
they
agree.
they make stupid decisions because the plot needs them
them
to
to.
be somewhere or to be stuck in a situation, or they need to get these characters from point A to point B and get them together, so you have really bad decisions get made.
Like,
And like you were pointing out, it's like there are so many things they could have done to deal with this fake dad, but they don't.
they don't even attempt
They make
anything.
no real attempts.
Standing next to an open door, she doesn't try to run
Right.
through it.
You are lying. They tried to poison him with the allergy medication.
They picked literally the worst way they could.
Hold on, I don't want to get ahead of the...
Right.
Sure, sorry.
Sorry, my bad. I did that. But I'm pretty sure it's actually here. After Jules and Seth save Margot from losing too many more memories, Margot
Just
demands...
one more memory.
Yeah, just the dog.
Dogs aren't
Margot
important,
demands
so
her father go to the basement and wait while they figure this out. Seth reminds Jules that this house...
Hold on. She then cuts herself for virtually no reason?
Yeah, it does skip over the part where she only got her dad to go to the basement by threatening to cut her own self off from the world. Margot demands... Go ahead.
So was that like a threat like, hey, I'll die, and then you can't have any more memories? Or was that a threat like, you're my dad, kind of, so sometimes you act like you care about me?
I guessed it was the prior.
She should have just held her breath. That's what daughters do.
My daughter hasn't
Or
picked
like-
that one up yet, thank goodness.
What about all of the other ways you can hurt yourself with scissors that are more effective for killing yourself?
Well, she wanted to not kill herself, I think
Well,
was the end
they
goal.
are less effective for TV shows with this amount of budget.
Fair.
Right. I mean, if she just plunged them into her throat, there really is no coming back from that. Right.
But like also, like I'm saying, like the dad could have been like, hey, you can bleed a while doing that. Like I could beat up your friends and overpower you in the amount of time if you just keep going like that. Like
It's just one of the poor decisions that it's
was-
like the worst possible Mexican standoff.
But that was in character for the character. She's so stupid that it made sense that she would do something like that.
That's fair.
So am I?
Margot has done nothing but prove that she's kind of a big Dumbo.
So am I supposed to believe that Margot, the character, is an idiot? Is that part of this?
I feel
show?
like you have to even watch the show. You have to make that assumption by this point.
Dude, that's not true. I watched a lot of reviews of this show on YouTube, and they all talked about how Margot was a great female lead who was really cool and compelling.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, that's not a joke either.
We're missing something.
Yeah, we're missing a cool, compelling female lead.
Are you telling me that I am out of sync with YouTube?
It's possible.
Seth reminds Jules that the house isn't all bad, and the only way to solve the problem is for Margot to lead them back to the NoEnd House.
Hey,
Yeah.
do you want to know a weird thing about what you just said?
What?
Wrong. It is all bad.
Yeah,
It's not all bad.
what is it that he thinks is not all bad about it? I did not.
He lives there, remember?
Well, that's true. I guess once you live in a place for a while, you just kind of.
Oh, we live in Nebraska,
Find
for
things to
goodness
like
sake.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the thing people say about Gotham. They're like, yeah, if you just become, because like, why would you live in Gotham? Well, if it happens every other day, you kind of just get used to it.
I mean, that makes sense if you're born there, maybe, but why would you move to it?
Gotta save the city. Maybe he was born there. We don't know.
Oh, was he born in the house? That explains why he's an orphan, maybe.
Hey, Michael,
Huh?
do they explain anything more about Seth?
Uh-huh. A little bit.
Hey, Michael, is it good?
Good is... There's
relative term?
different types of good.
Good's a relative term.
Margot has another plan. She's going to have to kill him the way he died in the first place, with his prescription medicine.
No, he's not gonna have to do that. There's a
He
lot
has
of
to!
other. No,
He
there's,
has to!
there's a lot of other ways he could die.
It's the only way!
She can take the pair of scissors and cut him a bunch of times
Yeah,
until
she
he
could
bleeds
have.
to
She
death.
could have stabbed him with the
Go.
scissors.
Oh, no,
Listen.
Dylan
Well, no,
tried
she
that.
wouldn't have stabbed him with the scissors. She would have just cut him a
could've just
bunch
cut
of
him a
times.
bunch.
You guys
until
are
he
They could
all-
bleeds to
have.
death.
They could have hit him a lot more times with a candlestick. They could have driven the car through him. They could have done so many
You
other
guys
things.
are all being extremely incompetent.
No, they could have carried him up to the roof
and
this
thrown
is-
him
and
off.
tossed him into the pool.
This is on the
and hope he
sci-fi
drowned?
website. It says she's going to have to kill him the way he died in the first place. She has to.
Why?
Yeah,
Well, she read the
Because it
script.
says so.
Oh, she read the script. No, so you know the way he died the
So
first.
yeah, in the
way
subtext it said his superpower is he can only be killed by the way his doppelganger committed suicide.
Well, yeah. Well, you know exactly the way that he
So
died.
wouldn't they have to convince him to commit suicide?
No, the way he died the first
That's
time,
true.
eating a dog that was laced with the thing he was allergic to, just like the first time,
Well,
right?
that is how he got the medicine to himself.
That's
the
why it
first
didn't work.
Or yeah,
Because
that's
they
why,
didn't actually convince him he wanted to kill himself. That's why it didn't work.
time. You're probably right.
I
It's like they make their decisions knowing that they live in a TV reality.
Hey, I have a question for you guys. Do you want to just start making stories and putting them on TV shows and stuff? It clearly can't be that hard.
Yeah, I feel like every pitch I submitted to let me pitch this to you was light years better than this.
Yeah. Do you have characters doing really dumb stuff
Well-
for the sake of plot?
Well, I try to because that's what I know from popular television.
It works on CW.
Oh, well, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, Arrow has like 7 seasons, dude.
So there's a show, Blacklist. Right?
Yeah,
I
I've
think
heard of it.
and it's got I can't think of his name now.
I know you're talking about.
The guy who voiced Ultron. Right?
Oh,
The guy from The Office.
Yeah, California.
James Spader.
James Spader. Right, that's right. Robert California. But he's the heart and the brains of that show. And there was a point like somewhere in the first or second season where I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep watching because you had this crack squad of FBI agents who always made the dumbest possible decisions in any given scenario. But he is so charming and his characters like written well enough and things that kind of surround him are good enough where I'm like, yeah, I'll keep watching. And they kind of moved away from like the regular FBI has to investigate, something happens, FBI's agents make dumb decisions. They've kind of reworked the show. So he's in it a lot more, making more decisions. So it works. But I almost gave up on the show because of that. Because like these are supposed to be the smartest FBI agents and they're dumb. Like my kid was pointing stuff out. Like, well, why are they doing that? Why wouldn't they go just kind of like walk around the corner there and they could solve the problem? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
that's a good question.
That's a good question.
My 9-year-old.
Are you saying this is as good as Blacklist?
No.
Are you saying the people here are dumber than FBI agents?
Well, I'm saying there's nothing. That kind of thing can be forgiven if you have something else to kind of rest on.
Like,
Right. So if you
like
have
Margot.
characters who do odd things, like, well, I don't know if they should do that, but you have other charming elements of the show. But this doesn't have that. It's like it revolves around characters doing dumb things.
Yeah, it really does. Like, you could make arguments like suspension of disbelief type stuff. Like, someone would notice that the house is there in the neighborhood where it wasn't before, and I'm fine letting that go. But when you see people that don't run when when they're trying to get away.
Yeah, you gotta throw.
Yeah.
It's like one of those. You gotta throw me a bone every now and then. You're asking a lot from me. So if you could just have anybody do anything that makes sense, sometimes to kind of make me go like, okay.
Let's build up to that. So basically, they try to kill him with his medicine. Meanwhile, Jules gets a text from the orb. That house is serious. And she knows she has to confront her memories, so she leaves Margot and Seth behind alone to do the deed. They crush up the pills, put it in those weird memory beads that came out of Margot's memories, the dog. Dad eats those right up and then starts choking.
Nom nom nom.
He suffers through dying again, and Margot is super upset. Worse, Margot's mom comes home just as they're going to drag the body back to the NoEnd House. If that weren't bad enough.
So they had planned on dragging that body down the street?
Every day when you're walking down the street.
Well,
did they not think someone would have seen that?
No, see, it was Seth's idea. Seth is too used to remembering the NoEnd House when nobody cares about that kind of thing.
The cop drives up and he says, "What are you guys doing?" And they're like, "It's okay. He's not real."
He's not, trust me, he's not real.
He's a perpetrator of insurance fraud, sir. I'm taking care of it.
He eats my memories, officer. He eats my memories.
He did it to himself.
So, if that weren't bad enough, Margot's dad wakes up again. He attacks them all, knocking Margot's mom unconscious and tossing Seth down the stairs. Margot has to hide.
A generous term.
Sure. Margot has to hide as he chases her.
Also a generous term.
So yeah, this is what you're talking about. It says Margot has to hide as he chases her around the kitchen. And by chases her around the kitchen, we mean that he moves extremely slowly and she hides and doesn't move.
Well, also, they were right next to a door.
Don't they mean she barricaded herself in the kitchen?
Because she was hiding under the counter.
Right.
See, here's the first thing she did was somebody jumped on him to stall so she could get away. She then ran away from an exit door to hide next to a different exit door to chill for several seconds while he walked around, to then, at the slowest speed I've ever seen anything, where she largely just wasn't moving for no reason, made a little bit of noise, waited for him to run over to her,
Yes,
then make more noise and move even slower.
She made the noise before stopping and not move, because she knew that opening the door would make noise. So she opens the door, makes the noise, and instead of running out the door, just waits.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically blind. So she could have just walked out and still been okay.
She could have just hopped over the railing and he would have
He's not a bat. It's not like,
And that was shown.
sonar.
It was even shown that it wasn't sonar because when she first makes the noise, he moves and misses her.
Yeah, because he runs past where she is.
He only finds her because of the light that shined on his blind eyes.
I could even give her that if they had established that she was, petrified or something. But she's just sitting there. She doesn't even look all that scared. I hate the show.
Seth,
either her acting is good or it isn't.
I'm going to go with isn't.
Okay.
Seth tries to intervene and then Margot decides enough is enough. In order to save everyone, she agrees to go back to the NoEnd House with her pappy.
Okay, also, again, Seth did try to intervene, but
he took a thumb to the forehead.
Okay, but his method for intervening was...
That makes it sound less dramatic than it was.
His method for intervening
the dad put his thumb on his forehead and just tried to push right through.
Was, this guy who's kind of overpowered me several times? I think I got him this time. He didn't surprise attack him. He didn't hit him with anything over the head. He's like, I took his hands off of his head, and then I'm going to lose this fight again. Because I've lost it every time that has happened, actually.
The last paragraph of this summary actually kind of shows the same plot hole we saw when we were watching the show. It says, Jules is unable to go back to her family, so she rushes back to Margot's house. Now, if you remember, she got a text from the egg, so she decided to go to the house. But this summary says she couldn't go back to her family, so she goes back to Margot's house. So for all intents and purposes, she got a text from the house, leaves the house just for plot, and then comes back to realize that Margot's gone. Only to realize they've all gone back. She rushes to NoEnd House, but it's too late. The house is gone. So Jules only leaves the house so that she's not around to help the whole process. She got a text from the egg, leaves, then comes immediately back.
Also, this synopsis,
Synopsis.
Yeah, what you said, says that she left to go face her memories, like to go face her family, even though she couldn't remember them. She leaves, sees them, and immediately turns tails and like, oh man, can't hack this.
I thought she was going to the house.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. That's what the egg text implies.
Yeah, but no, because not according to this thing. She left to go face her family.
Last time I got a text from an egg, I wanted to go to a house. The NoEnd House.
If I ever get a text from an egg, I'm going to let you guys know.
I gotta run to the end of your block?
Yeah, I don't know about the other seasons, but this is just awful. I mean, it really, and we're at the climactic moments here. Right?
This is the penultimate episode.
Right, we're at the climactic moments, and I don't
Feel anything. Except for movie distaste.
Yeah, and it really revolves around character decisions. I mean, because it's like you deflate any tension when you're like, you could just move. Like literally move.
I have
and that
a
would
question.
solve your problem.
I have a question. Did you guys remember that this is supposed to be a horror show?
I am horrified that this exists.
This stopped being scary in episode 2.
Well, okay. To be fair to the show, I don't care. We could be watching The Exorcist or the scariest movie ever created. If we're going to sit here and make fun of it, I'm not going to find it scary.
I watched the show trying.
But I'm watching the show, and I can at least, if it's a well-made piece of art, right? You can at least, if we were sitting here, we could still get what they were going for. If you have a craftsman at the helm. But since we don't have a craftsman at the helm, and you have a lady just standing there with the door open, but she doesn't want to move because she's afraid to make a noise, you just throw your hands up and go, what? The guy who made the room could have made it as equal quality, I think, of an episode.
Yes, I want to see him remake this.
Our definition.
Tommy Wiseau.
Our
That's
definition
right,
on Life's What You Rate It of a 2 out of 10 is bad diarrhea, where it's not good,
but at least it's getting out of it.
But at least it's out of your body. Does that fit this show?
What was your definition for a 1 again?
The world would be better without it.
The world would be better without it. Have you had fun at least making the commentary track?
Oh, I give the commentary much more than a 1 out of 10.
Yeah, it feels like work now watching it, because it's like there's nowhere. There's one episode left. They're not gonna, obviously, it's not gonna get better.
So Matt,
why are you making such fun of my favorite
I have
show?
a question for you. And Michael usually asks this, but I don't know if he's gonna get there. If you ended episode 5, would you jump into 6? If you watched all the way through this show, would you be like, should probably finish it, it's just one more, if not for this podcast?
No, and that actually, I would feel like there was closure, right? Because if you look at it for an extended episode of Twilight Zone, like something similar to that, that's what this kind of strikes me as. Not done with the same kind of skill.
But not good, because Twilight Zone is awesome.
Right. And when he comes out of the building, that's enough, because I can fill in the gaps. Like, what I can think of is actually scarier than what they're giving me.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So to me, it's like, oh my word, the cannibal got out. Right? You really shouldn't have been able to get out. I mean, you think by the rules of the universe that's where it is, because why wouldn't they already be out? But when he gets out, it's like, okay, that's kind of creepy. Right? If you look at it from a Twilight Zone perspective, you just end it right there.
So, it's in the original creepypasta.
That's a full meal right there.
The Twilight Zone moment is literally when they find out they're still in the house when they think they're out. That's
also
the actual
a good
ending.
place to end it.
When they think that they're out and they open up the door or whatever, and it says that number 6 or whatever, that's basically the short story is slightly different. In the short story, there's supposed to be 9 rooms. And then he goes back home, and his door says number 10. because it's the NoEnd House. That's the actual ending.
Okay, yeah, from a Twilight Zone kind of show.
It's a great ending.
That's another good place to end it.
Well, don't you like the part where it ends where
So
they
all
go
this
back
other
in,
stuff
though?
is basically fabricated.
Yeah.
So yeah, if this show would have if this would have been episode 1 and then it's over, it would have been a far better show than it is right now.
Technically speaking, rating wise,
And that's what
2
Electric
was the
Dreams
best.
is.
The best rating we got.
Which one?
2, episode 2.
So
Is that the one that ends with them eating
The mom. Yep.
That was also a better place to end it than this, even though it would have made no sense.
maybe they just didn't understand what they had. Right? I mean, because if you look at Electric Dreams on Amazon Prime, which is an anthology show, and Black Mirror, I forget what that's on, but it is on Netflix. Which is another anthology show. Each one is a self-contained episode, right? I know they're trying to, and it seems like they had a good idea based on that short story, but they're like, we don't want to do a single episode. We got to do a whole season.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? And they stretched it out over, 6 episodes? 7?
Are you telling me
episodes?
Are you telling me this 6-episode miniseries has too much filler in it?
Well, when you use a short story, when you burn out, we use all the material for the short story in the first episode. Yes.
Yeah, agreed. This was not enough to sustain 6 episodes.
I mean, that's why you get if you look at Stephen King's, the stuff that he wrote,
his short stories
that got turned into really good movies. They are short stories or novelists. They're not his big books, because it's just the right amount of material for that time, that time frame. And so I don't know.
You're telling me the short story.
I don't see how you get 6 hours.
You don't think the short story that takes half hour to read is 6 hours worth of TV?
No.
I wish you guys
certainly
would
not
stop
in this case.
I wish you guys would stop making fun of.
Well,
my
I can't
favorite
think of it.
TV
I'm
show.
trying to think of an example where that is the case, where you have a short story
Jumanji
that got turned into a series of movies, right? Because some of my favorite movies are based on short stories, and actually some of them by Philip K. Dick, since we're talking Electric Dreams. But Total Recall is a short story. Blade Runner is a short story, right? And I don't think the Blade Runner 2049 was based on any additional material, but obviously somebody with passion sat down and came up
they
with
had
a story
30
for that
years
movie.
to write the sequel.
I don't know. If
I've never
it's
seen
30
either
years
of the
right now.
movies. Well, what are you talking about?
Blade Runner.
Never seen it. What's it about?
It's about a guy that
Will
smuggles
Ferrell-
razors across the border.
Will Ferrell's an ice skater.
It's Blades of Glory,
It's a good.
which if you have not seen, you should see it.
I was totally picturing Will Smith, but that'd be a different movie.
Will
Smith is an
Will
ice
Ferrell
skater.
and John Heater skate to nothing but My House by the Black Eyed Peas.
I mean, I think you just got to understand what you can get out of your material, and it's either a movie, like an 1.5 hour long movie, 90-minute movie, or
A six
a
episode
40-minute
season of TV show.
or a 6-episode season of a TV show. And that's maybe that's one reason why these people never talk. Because we don't have material. We have to have 6 episodes. That's what we promised.
This
so we just
show-
have people stand around and not talk.
You make it so much fun of the show. It has a 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb.
Well, I think some people have gotten confused about what.
I don't believe those are real people at this point. I think it's a bot. Somebody wrote a bot.
Is there a way that we can go and a place we can rate this show poorly, so it's not just killing it?
Wackmatters.com.
Yeah, you should do this one on Lice What You Rate It.
Bad. But no, I'm saying, is there an online thing I can go and rate this that will plug into the IMDb algorithm?
Am
So
I-
it's
Well, you
not
can write
sitting-
user reviews on IMDb.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's bad.
Well,
I want
but
to
what
say
if-
that it's bad.
What do I have to do to become press for IMDb? Or for Rotten Tomatoes? I want to be an outlet that can be press now.
Can you just show them your website and that you produce content? So now you're.
I don't know how it
I
works.
think they have to validate you somehow. They validate you, and you get accepted as a critic. And so when you write, you show up on the critic side.
See, here's the thing. I think that should happen because I don't know if you read the other critic reviews that are on there for the show, but I think I could probably get that spot.
Why are they glowing reviews
Yes. It has 100% critic score.
this season?
Yes.
Okay. I'm using my fancy computer that I have in my hand.
All right,
Carry
go
with
ahead
me
and read
everywhere.
segments. We did that in the first episode, but I want to hear what you find.
See, now
Well, don't wait on me.
I feel like I'm living in the house at this point. If
It's letting...
what world do we live in?
I'm great.
We live in a world where this is a great TV show, and you guys are making fun of my favorite show.
This is seriously Trump's fault. It's got to be.
This was before Trump was president. Nope, it's not true. It wasn't. Crap.
Is this the same year that Trump was elected?
Thanks,
Because
Donald. No, it was the
that
year
makes
after.
sense.
It was the year after.
First the wall,
Like,
now
but
this show.
This
What?
show probably exists because David Bowie and Prince both died, though.
That's fair.
That seems like a reasonable reaction.
Somebody like Bowie's dead. We gotta kill art.
If Labyrinth is a 10, then this show is a 2.
If Labyrinth is a 3, this show is still a 2.
Okay, so here's one comment. NoEnd House does a great job of balancing grisly body horror with waves of utter dread. And
I'll give it that.
Yeah,
and
there's
somehow
a lot of dread.
a few generally heartfelt moments. Now, yeah. See, I will say the heartfelt moments are probably undercut because of kind of the format we're taking
That's
here,
fair.
right? But the grisly body horror, no.
Listen, I watched
And,
this.
and the waves of utter dread, no.
I watched
yes,
this
actually,
show.
I do dread watching this show sometimes.
I watched this show in the optimal watching experience, quiet, trying to take it seriously. There are no moments
No.
because
Okay,
the moments of
hold on, let me ask you something.
yeah.
Give me some examples of horror movies that you think exemplify one of those three qualities that you've watched.
Body horror?
No, one of those three. Utter dread, body horror, or genuinely heartfelt moments.
I'd give it 2 out of 3 at least.
In that so okay.
Insidious
What about
has dread. I haven't really watched a movie that I would say has a lot of body horror.
Yeah, that's not really my thing.
Yeah, same. I mean, Silence of the
But
Lambs, I think, is full of dread.
What about dread? Now, Insidious goes off the rails in the third act, but I'll give you the first 2 acts. They're pretty good at
Anytime
dread.
that a character is doing something, and we're assuming that the character is doing something that makes sense, unlike this show. But like Insidious, there's a lot of times when a character, like for instance, they do this thing in Insidious where a character will be doing something extremely slowly, but there's a crazy amount of tension built up, and you don't want to see what happens. Like in this show, they try to do the same thing when they're like have a character slowly approaching a door because you think something's inside. That's not creepy, and there's no tension built up in me. But Insidious, when they go to check the attic the very first time, nothing has happened that's scary yet, and yet I don't want to see what's up in the attic already.
Yeah, that makes sense. So a movie, Descent, okay, and so this is I'm going to use as a comparison. I'm not a horror aficionado, but it's considered one of the greatest horrors ever made by horror aficionados, and it has all 3 of those. It has body horror, not like excessive body horror, but it has body horror. It has dread, moments of dread, and it has truly heartfelt moments. There's a couple of really good heartfelt moments in that movie. Now, it also has a character who makes a really, really stupid decision. Like anybody looking in, goes, that is a dumb decision. I don't want to give it away because it is a good movie and I highly recommend it. But the other characters also acknowledge it as a really stupid thing to do.
So that works.
And in the context of the movie, the character making that stupid decision, her reasoning for making that decision, because there's a discussion on why she made that decision, you go, okay, that makes sense. It's still dumb, but from your character and what you were trying to go for, that makes sense.
I think
there's none of that in here, and I don't know where this guy is getting this.
So here's the thing, and I've read a lot of reviews for this show because I really am trying to understand what's wrong with my brain compared to these people's brain. And I think
the answer is nothing's wrong with your brain and something's wrong with theirs.
Well, this is what it comes down to. I think that the entire crux of this second part that we're seeing of the show here revolves around the fact that we are supposed to think that Margot has a connection to her fake monster dad as if it were her real dad. And all of the quote-unquote emotional moments, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, I guess, we're going to see more of that. She feels a connection to her fake dad because she is associating it with her real dad. That's why she had a hard time killing him. That's why she didn't kill him the billions of times she could have. That's why she didn't kill him in a good way.
That's why she didn't run away from him. She wanted to get caught.
A movie that does that right is Shaun of the Dead. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
So his mom gets turned into a zombie, right? So she's, for all intents and purposes, not his mom in the same way that this guy is not her dad anymore. And you have an emotional, heartfelt moment when he blows her away, right? There's a small hesitation, but he knows he has to do it.
The Walking Dead has done this a billion times, at least in the video games that I've done, in the comics that I've read.
Sure.
I haven't seen the show. But, like, it's done better so many other places. The problem is...
She doesn't kill him.
She doesn't kill him.
It's because she is dumb.
Like,
Maybe she's not a bad character as much as like she's dumb. Well, they're like, no, she's dumb. Like the character we wrote was stupid, and she's making stupid decisions. That just
She doesn't wait a second. He looks like my dad. I know he eats memories and he eats, pomegranate stuff, but
he eats
maybe he is
exactly.
my dad.
He eats my memories, rips people apart, and tries to hurt all of my friends. But he looks like my dad.
If my father was dead, and I knew he was dead, and then I went into a horror monster house where literally a manifestation of my memories creates a monster that looks like my father, and I know he only exists to eat my memories, I don't even feel guilty shooting him no matter what he looks like, because he's not my dad, and I already know that.
Yeah, the whole attachment that she has for him made sense back in episode 2.
In episode 2, when she didn't know.
And once you moved past that and he showed his true colors, I can't buy that she still has any major attachment. Like, maybe she would hesitate.
Wait, hold on. The acting isn't selling it for you?
No.
But that's the entire crux of this last episode, was she feels guilty about... and all the other characters are like, I don't think we can kill a person.
I want to see David Fincher redo this whole series, whole season.
David Lynch?
That would also work.
No, the director of Seven,
Fight Club.
I think David Lynch would
Panic
make
Room.
this show really weird. I'll just see David Lynch make this show.
I have seen
I
Seven.
wouldn't mind seeing you Bowl redo this. I think his movies make more sense than this.
The basketball player?
No, the one that makes the video game movies.
No, like Blood Rain and
Uwe Boll.
Oh, I don't.
Uwe Boll. How do you pronounce his name?
That was terrible.
Yeah.
Blood Rain.
Or that Jason Statham.
In the Name of the King?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay. That is worse than this.
I haven't actually seen it. I just assumed it had to be better.
No. That is actually worse than this.
Okay.
This is only tangentially related because it's a video game movie. What's the room's thought on Prince of Persia?
I did not actually see it.
The movie with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've only seen it once, but I remember thoroughly enjoying it.
I thought it was fine. Oh, that was fun. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we can be friends still.
It's not the best movie. It's fine.
All right.
But I haven't seen all of Gyllenhaal's movies, but I have not seen a movie of his that I haven't liked.
Did you see the movie that was about...
I have not seen his cowboy movie.
No, the one where there was that captured prisoner. What's it called? The one where they...
Rendition?
Nope. He's a cop, and there's...
Source Code.
And there's another character that
it's like a
kidnaps...
thriller.
Source Code.
No. There's another big actor.
Yeah, it's a thriller. It has the
Prisoners?
Prisoners. Prisoners.
Yes.
Yeah, just like I said, I've seen most of his movies. Just give me a second, I'll get to it. Prisoners is Denis Villeneuve, the same guy who did same guy did Arrival and Blade Runner 2049. It is a really good movie.
You like Prisoners?
Oh yeah, you didn't like Prisoners?
I don't know how I feel about Prisoners.
Watch it again. It's really good.
I don't want to watch it.
No,
See, here's the thing.
but if you
Maybe
wanna
the movie was awesome because it made me feel profoundly uncomfortable.
Okay. Well, it's supposed to.
Yes.
I mean, it's dealing with an uncomfortable topic, but if you want to really get creeped out by Gyllenhaal, you got to watch Nightcrawler.
If
you want to watch a movie where...
If you really want to get creeped out by Gyllenhaal, you should watch his cowboy movie.
No. No, I mean, so the word creepy is used a lot to describe this unfortunately, to describe this. All right? Channel 0. But if you want to see a truly creepy character, watch Nightcrawler. It's one of my favorite movies in the last 10 years. It's an amazing movie.
Is it a Marvel movie?
No.
No.
It's
not about
okay,
the
so
Blue
Jake-
Devil Boy.
Darn it.
Jake Gyllenhaal plays a character who he gets into... It's like set in the 80s, and he gets into... Well, no, it's actually modern. It looks like it's set in the 80s to some degree, but it's not. So I retract that. But he gets into like a photojournalism where you want to be at the like crime scene. You want to be the first guy at the crime scene. You want to be the first guy at the accident, right? He gets into that.
I think I saw a trailer for that.
And he sells his footage to a local newscaster. But he is super creepy, right? Like, so he gets into his roles like method actor. He loses weight for it, and he looks strung out, but he's not. But he's also really smart. The character, I don't know if Jake Gyllenhaal's smart in real life, but
he's a freaking genius.
Yeah, but he's really smart. But he uses that intelligence for evil, right? Because he is not a nice guy, but he's the hero of the movie. Okay, so it's a really good movie. I've every time I probably watch it a couple times a year right now.
Huh.
Since it's come out. I forget how old it is. I want to say it's like 4 or 5 years old.
Anyway, anybody else got some final comments on this?
Yeah, I've enjoyed talking about other movies,
very much
TV
so.
shows more than this, because there really is there's nothing to talk about. There's no, I mean, I suppose if you wanted to get philosophical, you'd be like, well, what are the dreams? Why is it eating dreams? But I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care enough about the show to get into that kind of stuff.
That hurts my feelings. Thank you for listening. Excited to hear the finale next week. And I don't know, I'll just cut it off here. Thanks for listening to the podcast that we produce here at Wackmatters.com. Just in case you didn't know, we have a lot of different shows running right now. There's Life's What You Rate It, where me and my brother Mark rate everything on a scale from 1 to 10 that exists in the entire universe. Tune In, where Marcus and his friend Karsten talk about cartoons and their value for people of all ages. Of course, WackTracks, where me and a bunch of friends make commentary tracks for whatever shows or movies we might be into at the time. And our newest show on the network, The Music Matters, where my friend Trevor creates a discussion around all the matters relating to music. If you'd like to support the content we make here at Wackmatters.com, please go to wackmatters.storeenvy.com and check out our merchandise section. We sell t-shirts right now, and there's more merchandise to come. Even if you don't want to buy a t-shirt, there is a donate button at wackmatters.com that you can use to support the content that we already make and to help fund creative ideas for the future. Additionally, this podcast is also brought to you by Audible.com. If you go to audibletrial.com/wackmatters, you can sign up for a free 30-day trial with Audible.com, where you get to listen to a free audiobook of your choosing and can continue subscribing for an awesome audiobook content subscription. Remember, that's audibletrial.com/wackmatters. We love you all and hope you will continue checking out the content we make here at Wackmatters.com. Have a great day.